Well, welcome. I'm Dr. JP Amante. This is the Holistic Research Academy, and in this video, it's time to get a grip. I'm going to take you through very simple but strategic hand grip strengthening exercises to not only improve your strength, but to help with healthy aging and longevity. So, according to recent research, the two most predictable factors for healthy aging and longevity with regards to our physical fitness are our VO2 max, which is our body's ability to use and consume oxygen, kind of like a test of your cardiovascular fitness. But another one is grip strength. It's natural that our grip strength is related to being able to do many tasks in life. But also, we find that your ability to lift, carry certain objects is related to your neuromuscular system. So, think about the anatomy. So, your hand strength is related to your forearm flexors and your extensors that extend all the way down to your fingertips. Now, this strength is directly built from that part of your nervous system called the brachial plexus, which comes up by your neck and your cervical spine. And so, keeping your neck healthy, flexible, with good range of motion, and certainly with regards to the nerves coming out of the neck down the hands, keeping these areas active, engaged, and healthy is very key as we age. So, to develop your grip strength, you want to focus on both sides of both squeezing and developing your flexion in your grip, but also in your extension and opening up your fingers. So, a simple exercise is to literally do pulses and holds. And you can pick a number. Start with 5, 10, 15, 20. Again, working your way up to whatever number possible, where you're pulsing and contracting and releasing, and then holding for a certain length of time. And same thing with your fingertips. And you can do pulse and then hold. Now, the next area of your hand to consider is the finger and the palmar muscles known as the digitorum. And so, if you look at your fingertips, you actually have several joints and therefore several areas that need to be strengthened. And so, one thing I found extremely helpful was using climbing blocks or any surface that actually has different depths to them. So, with a typical climbing block, you can either mount these or simply hang them up by the cord. Is you can find that by just first hanging on the very edge, the very first joint, this is called your distal interphalangeal or your dips, versus a little bit deeper, you can work on the next one, which is your proximal interphalangeal or your pips. And so when working your grip strength, it's important to find kind of different depths of surfaces so you can work on your dips and your pips, and then you can work on all of them by going right to your metacarpal. So your metacarpal heads are the bones right here at the very top of your palm. And of course, with either the next depth or on the very top, what they call slopers, is using that entire curved grip strength. Now, the next one, of course, I really like is using a pull-up bar. So you can find a safe bar anywhere to hang on, easily found at playgrounds, or you can hang a pull-up bar in your own at home and simply hang. You can do both hands, full hanging grips. And again, just start off with 5 to 10 seconds, eventually working up to 30 seconds, eventually working up to 1 minute or longer with just a dead hang grip. You can do two hands or certainly working on each hand, single hand, which if you can hold a single hand grip for about 5 to 10 seconds, it definitely helps to develop that strength. Now, of course, one of my favorite exercises to develop grip strength is simply pull-ups. And you can even bend your knees and do some simple knee ups or hip flexion as well to help strengthen your core. And of course, you can always do just natural things around the house, where anything where you're carrying something or having to lift or even doing simple climbing always helps to naturally work on your grip strength. And of course, one of my favorites is becoming a member at your local climbing gym. So taking up safe indoor rock climbing is also very effective for developing your grip strength over time. Now, another one of my favorite ways that I've developed my hand strength over time is by doing fingertips strengthening exercises in a plank or push up position. Let me show you. So, we consider what helps develop our grip and our overall hand strength. We talked about the importance of flexion and extension, but really, when you combine both of those actions together, it's to create a stable, strong surface of compression. And so, one of the best ways to do that is work on fingertip strength by simply finding a comfortable position. Now, what you want to do is you want to spread the thumbs and the fingertips apart and keep them relatively straight. You really don't want them to bend too much in extension or curl too much in flexion, but relatively straight. And if anything, there's just a very slight extension or slight bend back, but otherwise, you're going to spread your fingertips until you kind of find that stable point. Now, you can start off on the knees and then just slowly transfer the weight to start to notice how that feels. And once you kind of feel secure and steady, you just straighten the legs and go into a plank position. And again, just hold this one for 5 to 10 seconds to start. You can bring your knees down and relax. But as you develop that stability, balance through the muscles and tendons, ligaments, and the bones of the hand, eventually you can hold for 30 seconds or even a minute. Now, once that feels comfortable, then you can start to move through motions, either coming down to do push-ups and slowly back up to plank. One of my favorites is just slowly back into stretching, like in downward facing dog, then slowly forward into a plank, and just doing this back and forth. Not only great to stretch the back and the legs, but it just works on that dynamic aspect of your fingertip strength. And the dynamic is adding that motion into keeping that stability with your hands. And a little side tip for those of you that regularly practice yoga is a tip that I got from an advanced yogi was always use your fingertips whenever you're changing positions, right? And so whenever we were going face down, always coming back to that same fingertip exercise. So try those things out and see if they help. And let me know in the comments below your feedback and what are some of your favorite grip strengthening exercises to do. Now, the last thing to consider, of course, with our grip is how we use our hands. And certainly with all of the devices and all the things that we're technically gripping on or holding on to in life, always is the mind, body, spirit connection in the holistic view. And so anytime we get tensed or stressed, notice, does that go into your hands? Are there certain things that you're trying to hold on to? Because one of the healthiest things we can do, of course, is learn to let go. By relaxing our hands and relaxing our grip strength, we fully release a lot of that tension naturally throughout the body and the mind. So check out my other videos, and as always, at whcare.org, you can find more information on natural holistic care. Of course, like and subscribe to the channel to help us along. Appreciate you tuning in. See you at the next one.